so I'm cooking up some chimichurri to go with some buck loin. Same buck that I made the roast with last week. And by the way, it was phenomenal. Ate it all week till it was gone. So basically, chimichurri. I turned on to this a couple years ago, and it is my favorite thing I've found to go with steaks. So basically, you got parsley, cilantro, basil, lemon, lime, orange, red wine vinegar, salt, pepper, red pepper flakes, and garlic. So to make the chimichurri, you're just gonna chop up your basil, cilantro, and your parsley real fine. You're gonna slice your oranges, lemon, and lime, and you're gonna squeeze the juices in it. You're putting this all into a bowl. You're gonna put your salt, pepper, your crushed red pepper, and your red wine. There's recipes online if you want to get specific with it, but I just make it to taste every time. And you know, if you want it to be a little bit more spicy, put more red pepper in there. You know, same thing with anything else in the recipe.
Behind. Hold me close, my dear. Sing your whispering song softly in my ear, and I will sing along.
Me and my dad were talking this week about, you know, back in the day. Well, I say back in the day, but you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, every deer we shot, we just take it to the processor, drop it off, and get a bunch of hamburger or sausage or, you know, whatever. Come to find out, there is way more to do with deer meat than just sausage. And we met a guy down here in Florida that does all of his own processing, quarters up the deer, you know, lets it sit on ice for a few days, and then packages it and all that good stuff. And that's when we kind of started looking into different recipes and things you can do with different cuts of meat. And I mean, over the years it's gotten better, but I'm just mind blown over the quality of deer meat. I had no idea that steaks could taste so good. I mean, the number one thing I hear from people that aren't big on deer meat is like, oh, it tastes gamey. It's like, the only reason it tastes gamey is because whoever cooked it for you, whoever prepared it, they didn't do it the right way. If you're not bleeding your meat out after you shoot the deer, it's not gonna taste good. If you put a gut shot on a deer, the adrenaline's gonna get in the meat, it's not gonna taste good. The reason I'm starting to make these videos is because, one, I'm passionate about cooking. 2, I'm passionate about deer hunting. So it kind of just goes together well. But not only that, I'm always for trying to get more people into the sport and get more people into wanting to get out there and see nature and all that good stuff. And I think one of the things that are getting a lot of people into hunting is not really the idea of just killing an animal. It's more about, let's go and get my own meat instead of some crap from the grocery store that I don't know, you know, what it was injected with or what hormones it had. So the idea of going out to the woods and getting you a deer and processing it and making sure no other hands are touching that meat from the time it's shot by you to the time it's on your table is a popular idea, and I think it's getting people into hunting. So, you know, I think more than ever, hunting is under attack a little bit just because there's so many people that don't understand it and point to animals' rights and X, Y, and Z, and without really looking at the conservation facts and I think people like to look at hunters and think, oh, well, they're just a bunch of, you know, drunk idiots that just shoot stuff and don't give a shit about, you know, the consequences of taking an animal's life. I think there's definitely hunters out there that just kill mindlessly, but I think most of us care about, you know, the animal and respecting it. It kind of is unfortunate because it makes everyone else look bad, but that's that way with anything in life, really. Sure, it's exciting to take an animal, but it's also sad in that moment a little bit just because you realize, you know, you took something off this earth. But what people got to realize is it's not just all about killing. It's this animal is going to provide meals for your friends and families, and it's not something that, you know, is from some farm that has been trapped its whole life and just fed a bunch of shit just to get fat, you know, to maximize the profitability of it. There's a deep appreciation there for the animal because you saw the animal living and you took its life, and you understand, you know, the balance between life and death there versus just a prepackaged steak that you're buying at Publix or Walmart or something. When somebody takes a deer by putting a good shot on it, that's the easiest way that animal's gonna die. Because if it dies on its own in the wild, there's a couple of things that can happen. 1, it's gonna starve. 2, it's gonna get some kind of infection and die. Or 3, maybe a predator might get it. So the fact that you're taking it quick and, you know, good shot, 30, 60 seconds, it's done. that's the best way that animal is going to go in hindsight. So if you think of a deer, I hate to say it, but if you think of a deer starving or something because it has some kind of disease, or it makes the idea of shooting one a little bit more, makes the idea more bearable for the people that couldn't ever imagine shooting an animal. But when you compare it to the other side of things, it's really the best way they could go. But any type of gun hunting, bow hunting, whatever, if you're getting out there and experiencing that fresh air, man, it's better than just being locked inside all the time or just seeing buildings all the time. And it's just good for it's good for your mind, it's good for your mental health to get out there and just think and have some time to yourself and see nature. It's healthy. And nothing really gets on my nerves more is when people like to say, oh, you're so mean and cruel because you're a hunter. And it's like, okay, well, do you eat meat? Do you go to the store and buy some prepackaged freaking steak? What you're doing is supporting an industry that's way more cruel to animals than what we're doing. So you're a hypocrite. And man, if you're going to the store and buying steaks and hating on hunters for being cruel to animals, you need to do some research. And so I just kind of hope that making these videos would bring a little bit of awareness to the good guys out there, and get some people interested. And so this is the final result here for the chimichurri. A little bit more watery than I usually make it, but that's all right. And obviously this would go a lot faster if I had a food processor, but got to do it the old school way. So we got the loin here. Gonna pat dry, get all the extra moisture off there, all the extra blood and all that stuff.
I run across the river just to hold you tonight.
Just salt and pepper both sides. I already did it, forgot to film it, but salt and pepper both sides of the meat, and good to go. Time to put them on the grill. I usually get the grill going real hot and then do it about 7 minutes each side, and it usually turns out a pretty good medium. Somewhere between like 400, 450, 500 degrees, somewhere in there. And then you just kind of got to keep an eye on it. I do the texture way of cooking it, where you just feel it. And the way I was taught is with your hand. Each time you change this, it changes the cookedness of the meat, I guess you could call it. This is medium rare, and then so on and so forth. And then this would be you cook the shit out of it and it's not good.
Well, my buckle makes impressions on the inside of her thigh. There are little feathered Indians where we tussle through the night.
To wrap it up, we got our high-class paper plates here. That's how we roll.
Looking over West Virginia, smoking spirits on the roof. She asked, ain't anybody told you that them things are bad for you? I said,
this right here is what you want. Boom.
There've been several people try, but up till now there ain't been nothing that I couldn't leave.